David here, back with another live stream. So, this is the pre-show. Okay, we haven't actually started yet, officially started. We'll get started in about 10 minutes. So I have my little countdown clock. I've been wanting to put a countdown clock on here so we can start a little bit early, and it gives people time to get in here. Usually YouTube, for whatever reason, they don't always send out notifications right away. Sometimes they wait a little bit. I think maybe they stagger them. I don't know exactly what's going on with YouTube. Like I don't know how they do their business. I just know people come, I get to talk with you guys, and then yeah. So I don't know exactly how it all works. But I appreciate all you guys for being here. And so in 10 minutes, not 10 minutes, about 8 minutes, almost 9 minutes, we'll get officially started. And this is gonna be new. Okay, this is all new to me as far as like doing a live kind of a broadcast where, I mean, I've done live broadcasts before, but having something happening live at the same time and kind of going back and forth. So thank you guys all for being here, and just let me know that everything is okay, that you can hear me, you can see me. I think I need to put in, I'm gonna need to put my little earpiece in. So I can hear everything going on. And if you guys have questions, stuff like that, go ahead and put it in the chat. We have a little bit of time, so I can answer some questions if you guys want to do that. Once we get going, I'll try to answer questions, but sometimes it's a little hard just because there are a lot of questions coming out at the same time. So if you guys could ask questions now, it would be good. Also, we're going to just talk about this whole thing. I mean, I know there are a lot of people that are frustrated right now with how things are going and how there's urgency for this, but there's no urgency when it comes to stimulus package and all that. So we're going to talk about that too. Hold on. It's okay. I'm still here. I'm just not talking. All right. Okay, so we are back now, and I just wanted to put my little earpiece in. That way I can hear everything going on. So, yes, like I said, we'll get started momentarily. I have this whole setup here, so I'll show you real quick if I can get over here.
From Pennsylvania, rise.
As the member designated by Ms. Susan Davis of California.
Yeah. So right now they're just voting. It's just procedural stuff. So they're voting on rules for the debate. That will be, they'll have another debate that's going to be coming up right now. They were debating a little earlier, just kind of voicing their opinion. So yeah, we'll get back to that as soon as the show officially starts. So what I would like you guys to do for me right now, if you could hit the like button, I'd really appreciate that. That will get our likes up, and if we get our likes up, that means more people will come in because YouTube will promote us out to more people. So if you can do that for me, we have about 700 people in the room. If everybody could hit the like button, that would be great. That will really help with that YouTube algorithm and push us forward as far as getting more people interested. And you guys, we should be interested in this, even though this is the postal stuff. I watched the debate earlier. They debated some stuff earlier, and it's good to listen to this. You want to know, like the way I feel is you always want to know what's going on with your government. You are paying these people, okay? And whether you like the politician or you don't like the politician, we should all be interested in what's going on in our government, because that's how government gets away with things. And if you look at things, if you look at government, you say, well, why are they getting away with this? How can they do this? How are they going on recess every month and all this stuff? Well, that's because we're allowing it. And so that's why we need to pay attention. That's why it's important. Even though this might not be a stimulus check, it's still important for us to know what's going on and who is for and against some of these things, because some of these things matter. In my opinion, the postal stuff matters. I think all of us get postal, get mail every once in a while. So it does matter. We might get checks in the mail. We might get a variety of different things that are coming through the mail. And so do we want a fully funded post office? Do we want cutbacks in the postal service to where it's slowing down us getting mail or us getting medication or us getting a variety of different things through the mail? I would say no. I would say, yeah, I pay money and I want that service. And so this is important in that aspect. And so we'll talk a little bit about it. We'll listen to some of the debate. The debate is the interesting stuff, because then you'll hear the different politicians just talking about what their focus is. And not all the focus is on stimulus checks, believe it or not, or stimulus package. Some of the focus is just on stuff that their district, like in their district. I was watching a politician earlier talk about a certain type of fish in his district and how it's, I think how it's either being, all I know is about carp. It was about carp in his district. And I can't remember if he was saying it's becoming extinct or something like that. I don't know, but that was his talk. So they're not always talking about the stimulus package. Some of them are talking about a variety of different things. But it's interesting when they get on the floor and they start talking about different things, and you're like, okay, I thought you'd be talking about something else, but apparently not. All right, so we have about 2.5 minutes before we get officially started. And in the future, I am going to get an opening, like an opener. So when I click the button, it'll do like a, I don't know, it'll do something, an intro. That's what I'll do. But right now we don't have that, so it's just going to be me introducing myself again. All right, let's see. So if you guys have questions for me, just put at TEC or put at Travel Explore Click at ETC. That's funny. What do you think the other do is divide the money in half and put half people in half for the post office. So Paul is saying divide the money in half and give half to the people and half to the post office. I think right now the focus is what, $25 billion. That's what they're going to be voting on today. That would be nice, but that money wouldn't go very far. Half, what, $12 billion is not going to go very far, unfortunately. I mean, just to give you an example, our stimulus checks, their last stimulus checks was anywhere between $260 billion to $300 billion. That's what it costs for that first round of stimulus checks. And so that's kind of what we're looking at. And that's why we know there's talk of the skinny bill. That's why we know this skinny bill that's coming out is not going to have stimulus checks, is because they're talking about $500 billion. That's the funding that they anticipate having in this skinny bill. And 260 to 300 billion would go to stimulus checks alone. So that takes, when you look at all the numbers, the stuff that they want to do, it's not going to work. So it doesn't look like they're going to have that in place, the stimulus checks. And with the skinny bill that I'm talking about, the Senate has a bill right now that they haven't released it yet to us, but they've announced that they are preparing. They've announced that they're preparing this skinny bill, and they have some key things in the skinny bill. Part of it is postal funding, so that might be something that we might see coming in the near future. But it's said to not have stimulus checks, so that upsets a lot of people, obviously. Let's see here. All right, we're coming down to the very end here, and we are officially starting. So what's going on, everybody? Thank you guys all for stopping by. I really appreciate all the support. And if you guys could do me one favor, hit that like button, get those likes up. Let's see if we can get over 1,000 likes within the first 10, 15 minutes. That way we can really push YouTube's algorithm to get us out to more people. So today we're gonna be talking about the postal funding. I do have a split screen here where we have the actual. Let's see. I can pull this in. I just want to turn the volume down here. All right. So yeah, there's the House floor, and right now they're voting on rules. They're going to be debating it in hopefully within. They'll probably take a break after this vote, and then they'll be debating some more about the postal funding, and so that's what we can anticipate. And so I'll turn up the volume once they get on the floor and they start debating. But we'll be looking at this, and then I'm going to raise some questions to you guys. I want to know what you guys think about certain things. So we'll do some Q&A, and we'll kind of talk about that as well when it comes down to this funding for the Postal Service. We'll do that. Now, if you have a question for me, just put at TEC. If you put at TEC, then I'll address that question or those questions. Okay, so they're doing a little stuff right here. It's still procedural. Yeah, they haven't started yet. Okay, so we'll just flip back. I want to ask you guys a question. So, what do you guys think? And I have a list of questions here. So okay, let's see here. Let's go through some questions. Okay, so the first thing that I want to raise, and I'm going to say this now, and then I'll probably say this maybe halfway through our discussion here, because I think it's really important for us to understand what's happened in the past, where we are right now. Why is this being presented right now? I think a lot of people have questions of like, why are we talking about postal funding right now? Why aren't we talking about the stimulus checks and the stimulus package? And so, and I get it. I totally understand that. I understand the frustration. But what I would say to this whole situation is we have to understand where we came from in order to understand why we're in the situation that we're in right now. So we had the CARES Act that was signed on March 27th. Okay. That was the first stimulus checks that we received, and the PPP money and all that. So that was the first thing that happened as far as something significant. Now they had some other bills prior to that, but they didn't have a stimulus check in it. And honestly, most people weren't interested because there was no stimulus check, right? But when that stimulus check happened, that's when people really started to tune in, because it's like, oh, what, I get $1,200? Okay, how do I get it? When do I get it? So that was March 27th. Then around April 23rd, 24th, we saw an extension. Okay, so we had the CARES Act, and then they had like a small, if you want to call it a skinny bill, it was pretty much a skinny bill, where they needed to fund the PPP program again, because we were in a situation where the PPP money, if you guys don't know what that is, that's the payroll protection money that was going to businesses in order for them to keep people on payroll while they were, while they were furloughed or while they were laid off. And so that money ran out. And so they needed they needed more money, and they needed more funding. And so that's why they created this kind of skinny bill, or this interim bill. And that was voted on, I want to say I think it was signed by the president on April 24th. I know it was around that time frame. It was before May. And so once that was signed, then that's when we started to hear the wait and see. And that wait and see approach that the Senate started, Senators Mitch McConnell started to come out and say, you know what, let's wait and see. Let's see how the economy responds to the CARES Act and all that. So that's when we started hearing that. But prior to that, they were talking about doing another stimulus package, because you ran out of money with PPP, right? So there was some urgency, because there was no more money in PPP. There was some urgency to go ahead and do another stimulus package. But that did not happen. The Democrats, if you want to say caved, or however you want to say it, they said, okay, this interim bill will be fine, and then we'll do another stimulus package later. And so that's what they did. They did the interim bill. And so then it got to a point where mid-May, so May 15th, that's when the Democrats said, look, we need another stimulus package. What's going on? and then you had the senators, Mitch McConnell, spearheading this, saying, "No, we want to wait and see. We don't want to do anything right now." And so that's when the House passed the HEROES Act. And so they passed the HEROES Act on May 15th, and then it went over to the Senate. And it sat in the Senate for 2.5 months before, and they never did anything with the HEROES Act. So we have the House acting, and then we have the Senate not doing anything, waiting, right? And so they waited until July 21st or July 20th. They came back from recess. That whole week, they said that they had a proposal. The Republican senators said they had a proposal, but they did not present that proposal until July 27th. So they presented it July 27th, and that's when everyone started saying, okay, we need to negotiate. That's when the urgency came from the Republican side, or we need to get something done. We're in a crisis, this, that, when realistically we were in a crisis this whole time, right? Nothing really changed. Even in late June, the numbers started to spike when it came to different states. And so you have the House passing something. You have the Senate now creating their own proposal, the HEALS Act. And then the negotiations just stalled from that point. So right now we have the House. They're the only ones who have passed something so far. The Senate has not passed anything. And so I know there's a question, and people are saying, why are we addressing this Postal Service funding right now? Well, the HEROES Act had funding for the post office in the HEROES Act, which was never addressed by the Senate. And so because of that, the House is like, okay, well, look, we need this funding. If they're not going to address the funding, then we're going to create our own bill and send it over to them and see if they address it at that point. And so that's what they're doing today. Now, there have been talks of, why don't you add stimulus checks in with this bill, or add some other stuff in with this bill? And that could be a strategy, right? You add a few things, you send it over, and maybe the Senate will address it because it has a few things that might be interesting to some people or some politicians, right? That could work. It could. But Nancy Pelosi has decided that she wants to just go with the funding for the Postal Service and then continue negotiating when it comes to the other stuff. If you add, this is the danger. The big danger here is whatever the next stimulus package that whatever comes up in the next couple of months, this is it. This is the next stimulus package, the last stimulus package before the election. Okay? Things can change after the election. They can change drastically, right? If Donald Trump is not reelected, a lot of things can change. And President Trump has created he has the executive order, these memoranda. Some of that stuff is going to need to go through Congress. The payroll tax deferral needs to go through Congress. The Congress is going to need to approve this. This is something that the president jumped forward, and now people are going to start, some people might start receiving extra money in their paycheck, but that money is a loan at this point. It is not, it's not, you might have to pay that back, or businesses might have to pay it back, because basically what happens is businesses will no longer withhold the payroll tax. They'll just give it to their employees, and then at the end of this, when the deadline hits at the end of the year, well, now they have to figure out, okay, where are we going to get the money from? And so that might be a situation, or it's going to be a situation where Congress is going to have to approve this, because Congress carries the purse. And so, yeah, well, we'll have to see where that goes. But just in a nutshell, what we're looking at right now is we're looking at a situation where Nancy Pelosi does not want to pull other things in, because if you do pull other things in, that might be it. Like, and I'll give you an example. The skinny bill that the GOP senators are talking about putting out, there's no talk of a stimulus check, right? So let's say Nancy Pelosi says, okay, we're going to add some more things to this bill. And they add enhanced unemployment, because that's one thing that's will be expiring because this executive order is I mean, we're looking at 5 weeks at most that people will receive money, the additional $300. So that will be expired. So they need to address that. The eviction moratorium, they need to address that. So if you add a few things, and maybe even if you add a stimulus check, it goes over to the Senate might break it down even more and say, no, you know what, no stimulus checks. I mean, let's address this right now, because the talk right now is they want to address everything right now. Not everything, I'm sorry. They want to address certain things right now. When I say they, I mean the senators, okay? The Republican senators want to address certain things now and then address the other things later. And what we don't want to happen is we don't want to get to a situation where the promise of a stimulus check is now talked about. Before, we're getting stimulus checks, and now there'll be, I mean, if it's a situation where we don't have stimulus checks, the Senate votes on something without stimulus checks, then the talk is going to be, okay, well, we promise that we're going to give you stimulus checks if the president gets reelected or something like that. We don't want that, right? Just like the president's already said with the payroll tax deferral, if I get reelected, I'm going to push Congress to forgive this payroll tax deferral. So that same thing can happen. If I get reelected, guess what? I'm going to push for stimulus checks. We don't want that. We don't want that. We want stimulus checks up front. And so we'll have to see where they go with this. But there's an argument on both sides. There's an argument to add extra stuff, and you had 100 Democrats that were saying, yeah, why don't we add more stuff to this postal bill and send it over and see where that goes. But yeah, we'll just have to see. Let's see what's going on right now. All right, so looks like they just finished the vote. We have all the numbers, or they still vote? Yeah, time remaining 0. So they finished the vote. They're on break right now. They'll be coming back for debate, and so we'll come back in as soon as we have some people out there debating. Now, find your politician, right? Not all of them are on the floor. They are practicing social distancing, so even when they're doing the votes, they're having people represent certain people. Like you'll have one politician, one congressperson will come up and say they'll represent other people and vote on their behalf. Just because they want to practice that social distancing. But yeah, this is, we'll come back in, we'll listen to some of the debate. And like I said, follow your Congress people. Like that's what I do. I know who my congressperson is. The first thing is you need to know who your congressperson is, right? But I know who my congressperson is, and I listen to what he's saying, just because I'm voting for that person or not voting for that person. So I should know. I mean, it's our civic duty to know, to be knowledgeable when it comes down to it. All right, guys, if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. We'll answer some questions right now while we wait. Let's see here. And also, guys, please hit that like button if you could do that. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. And let me know what you guys think about this whole thing. Do you think we should be voting on the postal stuff? One other thing that I didn't mention, and like I said, I'm going to say this now, and then I'm going to say it a little later on too, just for people who come in later. But yeah, the House, they've acted already, okay, when it comes to the stimulus package. So should they really be acting again? Because if you act once and you pass the HEROES Act and you send it over to the Senate and the Senate doesn't do anything with it, should you send another bill over to them that's very similar? Maybe take out a few things and send them another bill, maybe a $2 trillion bill, which they've already kind of balked at the $2 trillion. They want $1 trillion. So should you send them another bill? Should you go through that, that whole process of getting another bill together and sending it to them if they're not going to address it? Or should you rely on the senators to get their act together? Because at this point, you have the House and you have the Senate. They both need to cooperate. If they don't cooperate, if you have the House just passing things and the Senate not doing anything, not passing anything, you're not going to get a stimulus package. You're just not. So the pressure now should be on the Senate. The pressure should be on Mitch McConnell to get this done. It should not be on Nancy Pelosi. And I had a discussion with someone yesterday, and we were just talking about he was upset with me because I was talking the video that I did yesterday where I was talking about Trump and how Trump made promises, and the person felt that I didn't, I'm basically giving Nancy Pelosi a pass when it comes to the stimulus package. And we all have our own different beliefs and opinions when it comes to things like this. But the reality is, when it comes down to it, Nancy Pelosi, yes, she is a player in this whole situation. However, the hang up right now is in the Senate. The hang up is not in the House. The reason that Nancy Pelosi is there during the negotiations is because she knows what she can get through the House. And so that's why she's there negotiating. But the Senate needs to pass something first. If they can't pass anything, we're never going to get a stimulus package. It just won't happen. And my issue with President Trump is that he's making promises. He's making promises, and they're not coming true. And so that's a big deal, right? If you make a promise and then you don't back up that promise, because this is my whole thing. When I heard about the skinny bill coming out without a stimulus check, and this has not been confirmed yet, this is just the talk, right? But you hear that they're talking about putting this skinny bill together. It's going to be $500 billion, and it's said to not have stimulus checks, which, like I previously said, we need $260 to $300 billion just for stimulus checks alone. So it's probably not going to have a stimulus check, because that would be the majority of the bill if that were the case. So the fact that that's being talked about, the president, because the president came out and said, yes, you guys are getting stimulus checks, it's going to be larger than what the Democrats want. That was the first promise that he made that didn't come through, because it wasn't larger. It was $1,200 with a $500 per dependent. What the Democrats wanted was $1,200 and $1,200 per dependent. So it's more money, right, that the Democrats wanted. So that was the first promise. The second promise was that we would be getting stimulus checks. And in this situation, if you bring this skinny bill to the floor, this is when the president needs to step up and say, look, no. That's not acceptable. That's not what I told the American people. I told the American people they're getting stimulus checks. You need to add stimulus checks to the skinny bill. And so the president is the leader of the Republican Party. And so even though he's not in the Senate and he doesn't have a vote in the Senate, he is the leader of the party. So he should be able to influence the party members. And so that's why that's why when I was talking yesterday about President Trump, that's what I was trying to allude to. Like the fact that, look, if you're the leader of the party and you say that people are getting stimulus checks and people haven't gotten stimulus checks yet, and in this next little skinny bill that they're going to try to present, it's not even on the table, that's a huge problem. And as the president, you need to step up and fight for the people. So that my whole thing is, you need to be fighting for the people if you want to get reelected, obviously, right? And the president is running, nationwide. Okay, you have a lot of all the other politicians, they're not running nationwide. They're running in their district. Nancy Pelosi, she's running in her district. She has a lot of power as Speaker of the House, but she's running in her district. So she could still get reelected, and she could still be elected by her members to be the Speaker if the Democrats continue to have the majority. But when it comes down to it, the president, you're running nationwide. Everyone's watching you. If you say something and you say people are going to get something and they don't get it, that's a huge, huge problem. And so that's what I was trying to get at yesterday. And like I said, we had a discussion. And look, we always want, and I'm not saying that was what was in this discussion, but people always want to label other people, right? You're a Democrat, you're a Republican. just religion. We always want to label each other and then justify, okay, yeah, they're that way. Think about all the bad things that we can pull from the Democrats or pull from the Republicans and say, well, I'm not going to listen to you because you're a Democrat or Republican. It's amazing. It's crazy to me because we do this when we talk about politics and stuff like that, but we don't do it anywhere else. I mean, well, in most places we don't do it. I mean, could you imagine if you go to a restaurant and you find out that the owner is Republican and you say, I can't eat here anymore because they're a Republican. Either they have good food or they don't have good food. It should not make a difference if they're a Republican or they're a Democrat, right? But when it comes to talking about this stuff, it's like it's crazy. Like, what? Republicans can't have good ideas. Democrats can't have good ideas. Yeah, they can both have good ideas, and they can have different ways of going about it. But it's amazing. People always want to like push you in that corner, like, oh, you're a Democrat, and so I can't listen to what you have to say anymore because you're a Democrat, which is just ridiculous. So anyway, guys, make sure you guys are appropriate in the chat because I will block you if you guys are using profanity. That's one thing I do not tolerate is profanity. There's ways to talk. You don't have to use profanity to get your point across. And if you do, then I'm gonna have to block you from the group. It's not even coming up anyway. It just comes to me, so I'm the only one that sees it. But if it continues, yeah, I will block you. And we do have moderators here. Miss Happy Apple, thank you for being here. I appreciate all your help. And I didn't see if there's anybody else in here. And I will do some shout outs. And you guys are keeping Miss Happy Apple busy. But yeah, just be appropriate in the group, guys, in the chat. There's no reason to go after each other. There's no reason to use profanity. All right, so let's get to some of these questions here. All right. So D is saying Trump needs to veto this bill. Let's see. So do money for the people, I think he's saying. Well, you got to look at it like this. Should we be in a situation right now because we're stalled? We're clearly stalled when it comes to the stimulus package. So should that mean that everything else just stalls, or should we still be working on other things? Because you can't get this stimulus package resolved. Everyone's on a recess right now. This is they came back for this. So right now, if they didn't come back for this, they would be on recess. So they would not be voting on anything else. But should we stop? Should we stop all activity, or should we continue to do things and still work on the stimulus package? I guess that's the question. When it comes down to the Postal Service, funding the Postal Service, we all use the Postal Service. All of us. We all receive mail. We all get checks in the mail. I mean, the way that I look at the whole Postal Service debate, we should be funding our Postal Service. And if they're short on funds, yes, we should be helping the Postal Service out. The Postal Service is not in it to make a profit. Okay, they're in it to break even. They have lost money in the past, but guess what? All government agencies lose money. Okay, the Postal Service probably loses less money than a lot of the other government agencies that we have in place because the Postal Service has a way to kind of cut down some of that cost by stamps and things like that, because we're paying not only is the Postal Service receiving funding from the government, but we're also paying fees to have our stuff our mail transported and all that. So we all use that Postal Service. So I think it's a good thing to pay attention to and to fund. And looking at the situation that we're in right now, with the elections coming and COVID-19, which is another issue that we need to talk about, right? Because we probably would not be having this discussion if the numbers went down and we weren't still reluctant to go to public gatherings. we probably wouldn't be having this discussion. But I think a lot of people, me included, are thinking, hey, you know what? I might actually vote absentee this year, where I receive the absentee ballot, but I never voted absentee before. I've never mailed my ballot in. I've always gone to the polls, and you can do that. You can have your absentee. You can still take it to the polls. So there's a good possibility this time that I'll mail it in. Now, I do need to look and see how things are going, because my vote is important to me, and so I want to make sure it gets there. So if we're still hearing talks of problems with the Postal Service, well, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I will have to just run in there and drop it off, because you can still vote by mail, or not vote by mail. You can do absentee and take it and drop it in the box. So that's something that I might consider doing. So I don't have to actually go in and touch the machines and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on here. But yeah, if you guys have questions, just let me know. Just put at TEC. Thank you, Dolly, for taking care of some people. Wow. All right. Micro Trades is saying, do another giveaway. You know what? I will do a giveaway, but I'm going to do it over in the Discord. So I always do giveaways in the Discord for right now, and we're running down to, I think I have $119 left. So that's 2 more giveaways of $50. So once that ends, we'll see what we'll do from there. I do like doing the giveaways, so we'll see where we go from there. But yeah, we'll do a giveaway at the end of this live stream. We'll go over to the Discord. I don't know exactly when we're going to end here, because this is taking a little longer than I think they even anticipated. I think 3:30 they wanted to start voting, but they're going to have debates. Looks like they're coming back in right now. They're going to have debates, and those debates are going to be for, I think it's a 2-hour block for debate. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to go the full 2 hours. That just means that that's the time they have allotted. They can go for as long as they want, and then they can stop it whenever they want. Let me switch over. Okay, yeah, they're still in. So we'll switch over to this screen. It's a little easier for us to, so you can see me, and then you can see what's going on in the background there, and then we'll switch over to the floor once they come back in and start debating. And so, all right, let's see. Any other questions you guys have? And the Discord, if you guys want to know information about the Discord, there'll be a link. If you look at the Streamlabs, that Streamlabs link there. Okay, looks like they're coming back in session now. Let's jump in there and see what's going on.
Mr. Speaker, from Georgia. Mr. Speaker, on that, I ask for the yeas and nays.
Pursuant to Section 3 of House Resolution.
All right, they just want to. They're just getting a count. They want to hear how many people counted. So they're not starting the debate yet. All right, so let's see. Is there any way you can write in a vote? Yes, you can write in votes when you go vote at your if you go into vote. Yeah, you can write in. I don't know if absentee. I'm you know what? I'm pretty sure absentee you could probably do it too. I would think that you should be able to. So MicroTrade says, I think September 14th checks will be approved. Okay, well, that's a week after they get back. Now, the Senate comes back September 8th. So that they would have to move really fast in order to get that approved. So we'll have to see how that works. Let's see. All right, looks like they're back in. Yeah, so there's a 2-hour debate on rules here. 2 more hours. Let's switch back in here.
Engel will vote yes.
Okay. I'm going to keep jumping in and out just to see what's going on. So they're just voting on the rules again. Another vote for more rules. It was funny. I was talking with someone earlier. It's like they must get paid by the hour because they're taking a lot of time voting on these different rules. So, yeah, that's what's going on right now. Not too much. Okay. Let's see. Let's get back to the questions here. And Band of Brothers Sisters says Dems are holding everything up. What do you guys think about that? Who is holding it up? Is it the Democrats? Is it the Republicans? Is it the president? What do you think is going to move forward? And let me know. So the Democrats are holding it up because the Republicans are holding it up because the president's holding it up because. So let me know what you guys feel about that or how you feel about that. Because I think right now everybody's holding everything up. But when you, and this is my opinion, and I want your opinion in the chat. When I look at everything, right now the Senate is what's holding everything up, and who controls the Senate at this point? It's Mitch McConnell and the Republicans. So I see them as being the reason why we can't move forward, because you have to have the Senate. If the Senate does not approve anything, then you're not going to get a bill. And so right now, I think, well, right now that is what's holding it up, because we do have something from the House. It might not be what everyone wants, but there is something that was approved by the House. We don't have anything approved by the Senate yet. And so once we get something approved by the Senate, then it's going to go to the House. And then guess what? The House might be holding it up if they don't want to vote on it, or if they don't want to move on it, or they're stalled. But we have to get through. We have to get past the Senate first. And so right now, that's where the holdup is. And I've said this before in other videos. Mitch McConnell is the leader of the Senate. He needs to be in the room. He should be in the room negotiating. It is uncalled for to not have the leader of the Senate negotiating this next stimulus package. The fact that he's not there, it just blows my mind. And at first I was thinking, okay, well, maybe he'll get there. He'll get there at some time. It's just right now they're just trying to figure out what's I don't know, but it's now it just looks like he's refusing to be there. Like he's not even planning on sitting down. And so I think that's a huge problem. I also think it's a problem that the president isn't playing a more active role when it comes down to it. He doesn't have to be there every time they negotiate, but as the leader of the Republican Party, he has a lot of clout, and he can demand certain things. And I think it can move things along a little faster. Plus, when it comes to the politicians, they need to be, like I said, the elected officials need to be in the negotiations, not people who are surrogates, not Stephen Mnuchin, not Mark Meadows. You need to have the people who are elected officials, because that can directly impact them. The president getting stimulus checks out can directly impact him, can directly help him. So you would think he would be motivated to get a stimulus package done, right? And he would be wanting to be in the room to make sure it gets done. That way, those stimulus checks can go out. He can sign his name to the letter like he did last time, and everybody can think, oh, Mr. Trump, he sent us stimulus checks. But he's not even going that far. Like, he's not even a phone call. Like, they're not even talking to each other on the phone when it comes to the other side. Democrats and Republicans, they're not even having a phone conversation, okay? And in the past, like I've said, I will at least give the Democrats credit because you have the Speaker of the House, you have the Minority Leader of the Senate in the negotiations. I'll give them credit for that, okay? You have to give them credit for that because the other side is not there. So if the other side is not there, it's like, who's really holding it up? So yeah, we should not have surrogates in there. We just shouldn't. Let's see. Sam is saying I think both sides are holding things up. Yeah. I mean, I would agree. Like, you do have Nancy Pelosi saying no on this, no on that, no on this. We don't know all the talk, right? We don't know everything that's going on when it comes to negotiating, the negotiations. But you do hear her saying no. You heard her saying no to adding stimulus checks and stuff like that, to adding more to this proposal. I'm sorry, not proposal. This bill that they're talking about right now. But we don't know what's going on in the room, right? We don't know what the negotiation, what's already been talked about. We don't know if there's been anything promised, or Nancy Pelosi's her fear is that if they do pass some different things, some different elements, so it's not just the postal stuff, but they add a few different things, it goes over to the Senate, and the Senate, in her words, put poison in it, put some other stuff in there, and then sends it back with a stimulus check in there, but some other stuff that because basically right now they were negotiating. So she kind of has an idea, some different things that they're talking about, right? And so I think her fear is that you pass something through the House that has stuff that really is needed, like the Postal Service. The Postal Service is going to be an urgent thing, right? So you pass that, you know that the Republicans are looking at that and saying, yeah, well, they need to pass this Postal Service stuff. So let's add some stuff in there that we were negotiating that was off the table because, they negotiated it out, but we'll bring it back in there. Like, I'm just saying this, but like payroll tax cut. We already know that they're doing the payroll tax deferral, but what if they do a payroll tax cut? You don't have to do the deferral anymore because now there'll be funding for it. And it won't come, hopefully it won't come from Social Security. So let's say that the senators add that and then approve that bill and then send it back over to the House. And now they're stuck because stimulus checks are in there, enhanced unemployment, some of the other things are in there, but they added this other stuff on top of it. So it would be hard for them to say no. It'd be hard for Nancy Pelosi to say no. So if she just sends this through, just a standalone bill, maybe that can go a lot faster, and then they can still negotiate some of this other stuff. Because this is it. This is it. Like, when I say this is it, I mean this bill that goes through is probably the only bill that we're going to see before the end of the year. Now, I'm not saying that we won't have another stimulus package. I'm just saying that if they pass something in September or early October, that's it. We'll have an election, and then after the election, then we'll have to see where we go from there. There might not be any there won't be any urgency after the election. It doesn't matter who wins. There's not going to be any urgency. If President Trump wins, he's probably going to be like, you know what? I've won. I won another 4 years. I can just ride this out. I don't have to move. There's no urgency to move on any stimulus checks or anything like that. If Joe Biden wins, then now you're looking at, we have to wait until January 20th to when he's inaugurated before we can move forward with anything that they're interested in doing. So that's where we would be. It's going to be lame duck. It's going to be like a lame duck Congress. You're going to have some Congress people who are not going to be reelected, so they're not going to be urgent. There's no urgency for them to move forward with anything. So you have to get this before the election, and whatever we get before the election, this is going to be it. Like, this is going to be all we're going to see for the next 6 months. So it's very important that you get the things that you want in there now. If you don't get stimulus checks in there, it's going to be bad news, I'll tell you. And so that's the whole reason why Nancy Pelosi wanted to do a full bill. She didn't want to do the piecemeal stuff because that will give politicians an opportunity to kind of backpedal and wait and wait and wait. And then if they get reelected, then they can just say, I'm good for another 2 years if you're in the House of Representatives, or I'm good for another 6 years if you're a senator, and I'm good for another 4 years if you're the president. So that's kind of the way, the strategy I think some of them are trying to play. Let's see. All right. this is just a setup to get Trump back in office. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. And band of brothers and sisters, my show's not for everyone, okay? So if you don't agree with me, that's fine. You have your opinion, I have mine, and that's just the way it is. Like, people get on here, oh, this guy has no facts and this and that and this, and that's fine. You don't have to be here. You can go other places. You do not have to listen to me, okay? Let's see. All right. If you guys have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. Or if you guys have comments, go ahead and put it in the chat as well. Michael Trades is telling me to call Jerome Powell. Yeah, and that's crazy, right? The Fed chair wants more stimulus. The CEOs of major corporations want more stimulus, and we have Congress that's kind of just sitting on their hands. It amazes me. It really does. So, all right, they're still voting here. This takes forever. Good Lord. I was hoping to come on right before they start debating and then go into the final vote, but it looks like they're just stalling. Like I was telling someone earlier, they must be getting overtime pay right now or something, because they are really dragging this out. Sherry Craft, thank you for stopping by. One of our members. Now, if you guys don't know, we do have memberships, and I just started memberships last week, and I have a video for you guys too. I'm going to put that video out later today. But basically, the membership, and this is only if you can afford it. This is in addition to what we're doing here. We're still going to do live streams. We're still going to do daily videos. But if you want more of me, like Band of Brothers and Sisters, he wants more of me, or she, I don't know if it's he or she. If you want more information, more stuff, then you can join our membership. If you join the membership, you will get, first off, you'll get little badges. So if you see people that have these little bronze badges, you'll get the badge, as well as you'll get custom emojis that you can use. And then I do one live stream a month, and that's a private live stream for the top members. So we'll do that live stream, and where I can just sit and talk with you guys, and you guys can ask me questions. And I haven't decided yet, but I think I'm actually going to do it. It's going to be like a dinner date. I'll just have my food here. We'll eat. We'll talk. And I don't know exactly what I mean, because it's not going to be just like stimulus check related stuff. It can be just about anything. We're just going to have conversation. But it'll give me an opportunity to get to know you, give you an opportunity to get to know me. So we'll be doing that. And then plus for the top members, we have, I haven't even started the Discord yet, but I'm going to start a private Discord. And that will allow people to reach out to me if they want to talk to me. You can reach out to me on the Discord anyway, but I'll have something private where it's something we can all talk as a group in that private section there. Debbie's asking, is there any good news? I mean, as far as stimulus checks, if that's what you're asking, everything is still stalled. We're still waiting. The problem is you have the Senate on recess right now. You have the House coming back to do this vote for the Postal Service, the funding. And not only is it funding, so not only is it the funding for the Postal Service, but they want to bring the, what do they call it? Like the levels, they want to bring the levels back up to like before I think January 1st, exactly. How do they word it? I'm trying to think of the exact word. So basically, part of this bill is they don't want the Postal Service to make any further changes. So they don't want to reduce the Postal Service by, taking out more machines, taking out more mailboxes and things like that. And they also want them to get back to pre-pandemic levels. So basically, they've done a lot of cuts in the last few months, so they want them to go back to where they were before. So they're like fully operational, I guess you could say. Right now, they're not fully operational, so they want them to get back to that level, and that's part of the reason why they're providing the $25 billion. And so from that point on, once they get back up, that will help out with the election and all that. And then they want the Postal Service to stay that way until after the pandemic. And then once pandemic subsides, then they can work on, I guess, trying to revamp the Postal Service. Because the whole thing right now is they're talking about revamping the Postal Service, right? Making changes to the Postal Service and that. And that's all fine to save money. I get it. I understand that. But you also want to make sure that you have people in place to be able to give us a fair election, right? And people have the opportunity to mail in their ballots. So that should take priority right now over this whole revamping of the Postal Service, in my opinion. Like you can always do that later. And another thing too is about the $25 billion. You're talking $25 billion. Let's say they don't need all that money. And we were talking earlier in the chat, and people were saying, well, the Postal Service already has money, and there was a congressperson that came up and said, yes, the Postal Service already has $10 million or $11 billion. And that might be fine, but is that enough? And should you provide additional funding just in case that isn't enough, so they can run through? Because we're looking at the absentee ballots and the vote by mail and all that. We're looking at numbers that we probably have never seen before when it comes to vote by mail and absentee ballots. So do we want to be over prepared, or do we want to be under prepared? I would want to be over prepared. I would want to have more money and more resources available than what is needed. And you can always divert money from the Postal Service to other places after the fact. So let's say you get that $25 billion, it goes to the Postal Service, and then they after the election, after the pandemic, we realize that, you know what, they don't need all that money anymore. They can divert that money other places, right? Congress can have that happen. Even the president with an executive order. We just saw it with FEMA. You can take money from FEMA and put it into other places. And so that can always happen. But I would rather be, I'd rather have extra money than to be struggling last minute trying to get a bill through so we can get money for the post office. So you want to be prepared. All right. You guys are active in the live stream today. Let's see, ask how many people can stretch $1,200 longer than a month. That's a good question, Sherry. So how many of you guys in the chat, let me know, can you spread $1,200 more than a month? So like if you had $1,200, would it last you longer than a month? I mean, most of us would probably say it would be either rent or mortgage, and then it would all go away. But yeah, how far does $1,200 really go? Joe's asking about hazard pay. What about us frontline workers? I feel you guys. I mean, I think that should be at the forefront. But unfortunately, it stopped with the HEROES Act. The HEROES Act, it was in there, and you heard no response from any Republicans when it came down to it in the Senate. And so they did not put it in the HEALS Act. And so it's kind of died. Yeah, it's kind of died. It's unfortunate. And you don't hear any real talk of it now. I don't know what's going on in the negotiating room, but it's not being talked about anymore. All right, guys. As we wait here for this next vote that they're doing here, I think this is the last vote. Once this vote ends, then they'll start their debate, their final debate. And let's hope that final debate's not 2 hours. The first debate wasn't 2 hours, so they just they allot them 2 hours to debate if they want, but a lot of these guys are probably tired already, and it's already a done deal. Like, one of the things that Nancy Pelosi knows her numbers. Like, she knows she has the votes. That's the only reason that they're there on a Saturday. And so really to debate is they're debating because they have the right to, and they want to get their voice heard, which is good. And it kind of gives us insight on how they feel about certain things. But the reality is the numbers are already there. So this is not going to be one of those things where we look at it. It's not going to be like when John McCain came up for Obamacare and did the thumbs down. It's not going to be like that. It's not going to be dramatic like that because the votes are already there. All right. So $1,200 will last about 2 weeks. That's what Kathy's saying. Thank you for stopping by, Kathy. Kathy, another member. Thank you for being a member. And if you guys didn't know, so yeah, I was talking a little about the membership, and then I stopped talking about it. There's a join button. So there's a join button right next to the subscribe button. So if you join, there's 2 different plans that I have right now, and you can become a member. And we have some extra little benefits for members. Let's see. Oh, wow. All right, guys. And remember, we will be going over to the Discord after this, and we'll be doing a drawing over there. So a giveaway, I should say, not a drawing. All right. Are they done with this vote yet? Yeah. Time has expired, so they should be ending this really soon. And then we'll hear some debates. We'll go into the debates and listen to what they have to say, and then we'll kind of jump in and out of those. But hopefully everybody's having a good Saturday afternoon. California, Southern California, I mean, it's hot here, but Northern California, there's a lot of fires going on. So hopefully everyone's safe out there in Northern California. We've had a few fires in Southern California, but not too many, and they haven't been very big. But in Northern California, it's this time of year, it's always like this. Cynthia, we have a new member. Thank you for becoming a member, Cynthia. Thank you very much. And Maria saying, thank you for your information. Have a blessed weekend. Thank you very much, Maria. You have a blessed weekend as well. Update on stimulus, Armando. So yeah, right now we don't even have the Senate in session right now, and the Senate is the one that needs to push something forward. It kind of makes no sense for the House to vote on something else and approve it, because you have the HEROES Act, which is not being addressed or won't be addressed. Then you have the HEALS Act, which is being negotiated right now. So it doesn't really make sense for the House to create another bill and send that bill over to the Senate. And so what are they going to do with that? Now they have a whole new bill that they need to look at. So I think it's best right now to continue negotiating the HEALS Act. And there is talk of, and you have some Democratic support on a skinny bill. Now, I'm okay with a skinny bill that includes stimulus checks and hazard pay, enhanced unemployment, eviction moratorium. Those 4 things, I'm okay with it, with the skinny bill that includes that. But unfortunately, I don't think that's what's going to be in a skinny bill. And so because of that, little thing popped off. Because of that, because that's not going to be in there, or I don't think it will be in there. And I'm sure that's, Nancy Pelosi saying, "Oh, we're not going to do a skinny bill, we're not going to do piecemeal." But if you present the right piecemeal, she'll do a piecemeal, and you push some of the other stuff down the road, then she would do that. But the fact that the piecemeal that they want to bring forward probably won't have a stimulus check in it. Well, yeah, the people don't even want that, right? So Yeah, if you have the right stuff in there, then maybe that'll work. All right, let's see. I gotta fix this real quick. I think I broke it. All right, we broke our little earpiece here, so we'll just leave it. And Joe saying yes, skinny bill, hazard, stimulus checks, unemployment, perfect. Yeah, I would agree, and I think most people would agree with that, but I don't think that's being discussed. What's the Discord group? So the Discord it's a stimulus check group. So we talk about a variety of different things, but stimulus checks is like the main thing. And so we talk about what's going on with the stimulus package, stimulus checks. We watch other videos, other YouTubers' videos, my videos, and we just discuss a lot of stuff. We talk about clickbait and all kind of stuff. Yeah, it's interesting, but it's a way to stay informed when it comes to the debate, right? When it comes to the stimulus check stuff, it's a way to stay informed. All right, this thing is going to be messing with me for the rest of the show. There's a clip that's not in here anymore, so I think it fell on the ground. All right. And Angie's saying they need to focus on us right now and not the U.S. Postal Service. So I agree, but I disagree because part of us is the Postal Service. There are a lot of people who get things through the Postal Service, like medications and things like that. So this is an important topic, and this is something that was in the HEROES Act. So at this time, I think it's something that we do need to focus on. But the fact that the House is voting on this right now has nothing to do with the Senate. Okay, and when I say it has nothing to do with the Senate, I mean it has nothing to do with the progress on the next stimulus package, because the Senate needs to pass something. They have not passed anything. So what they're doing over here in the House right now, that is not speeding up or slowing down the process when it comes to the next stimulus package. Because the Senate right now, Mitch McConnell right now, he's in Kentucky. He's on a recess. Okay? So nothing is getting done when it comes to the negotiating. And so that's what needs to happen. Like, we need to continue the negotiating. It hasn't continued yet. So the Democrats are saying we want $2 trillion. The Republicans are still saying we want $1 trillion, and they're not budging. Now understand that the Democrats did come down from 3.5 trillion or 3.4 trillion. They came down to 2 trillion, and now the Republicans have been at 1 trillion this whole time, but they're not willing at this point. They're not willing to go up to $2 trillion. So that's where we're stalled right now. And Kara saying there's no way we're getting reoccurring checks. Yeah, there's the only angle that I could see of that happening is if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are elected, and that wouldn't happen until next year, January, February time. Actually, February time, not even January, because January 20th is when they get inaugurated, and so we would realistically be looking at February, March, and we would still need to be in this situation as far as the pandemic, and so that's the only way I could even see that being possible. And I'm sure they would target it. It's not going to be as open as stimulus checks. I'm sure they would target it to people who really, really need it. So that's what we'd be looking at. Okay. Kathleen is saying that I don't know what NAA is saying, that stimulus checks are being sent out today. So I guess somebody's saying that. You know, I'm gonna start just on a live show, just opening up the just type in stimulus checks and see the videos that come up, because I look at some of these videos. I don't even click on some of them, but yeah, some of the stuff that's on there is like, okay, yeah, stimulus checks today. It's like, you gotta be kidding me. You have to be kidding me. Yeah. All right, guys, where are we right now? They're still sitting here. Nothing going on. I think just give me 1 second. I got to find this little thing here. Whoa. All righty. Okay. So, yep, we are still waiting for some action, some debate action. All right, guys, throw some more questions out at me. What is NAA? I don't know who that is or what that is. I don't watch anymore. Janice is asking, have they passed the stimulus check? No, they have not. They have not passed the stimulus check, unfortunately. Melissa says, drain the swamp. All right, guys. Let's see. Jimmy Gomez, California, Los Angeles. Let's jump in here and see what they're saying.
As the member designated by Mr. Gonzalez of Texas, pursuant to HRES 965, I inform the House that Mr. Gonzalez of Texas will vote aye on HRES.
All right. They're still voting. I don't know why it's taking them so long to vote. Okay. Mr. Jarju is asking, what does TEC stand for? Travel, Explore, Click. So that is the name of my channel. But I wanted to shorten it a little bit just so people don't have to say Travel, Explore, Click. But yeah, someone put that in there. Thank you for putting that in there. All right. Okay, so let's move on to some topics here while we're waiting. Government is just taking their time. We talked about most of this. I think I talked about all of this stuff. Yeah, I did. Okay, so why are you guys watching right now? Let's talk about that real quick. So why should we watch? Why should we pay attention? I hear a lot of comments and people saying, I'm not voting this year. I'm not voting at all. And this is why I don't like politics. And that's all fine. Well, not the voting part. You should vote. But I think as a citizen of this country, it's patriotic to know what's going on in your government, because we are the government. We make up the government. We elect people to represent us, and we need to make sure those people are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And obviously, there are a lot of people that are upset right now because of the current situation, and not only the COVID-19 and the economy and everything like that. People losing their jobs. People are very, very upset. Now, everyone's looking at the government, and a lot of these problems have already been, they've been around for a while. Okay, this is not like a brand new thing when it comes to politicians going on recess and some of these other things that we're seeing that we're like, what? They do that? This is crazy. And, they don't make any changes, and they're not going to, stay and help us out. They're just going to go on recess and not vote on the next bill, or they can't get along, all this stuff. So it's very important. It's very patriotic to know what's going on in your government, know what your politicians are doing, and vote. You don't have to vote. You don't even have to vote for people on the ballot. Like people were saying, can I write in people? Yes, you can write in people. But it's important to know what's going on and hold your politicians accountable. If you start holding politicians accountable, they will change. Trust me, because they're going to lose those jobs. Okay? Not only are they making $170,000 plus, they have a lot of power in the community, which means that when they retire from these jobs, they could still, make a lot of money and stuff like that. So you need to hold them accountable. You need to make sure that they're doing things that they're supposed to be doing. And I guess that's kind of a bad thing to say, that if you vote them out of office and they get a lobbyist job somewhere, they make even more money. But you get what I'm saying. You hold them accountable. They want these jobs. That's why they're there. And that's why they spend and they fundraise and spend millions and millions of dollars in order to secure these jobs, these political jobs, because it's very beneficial to them. And so you need to hold them accountable. And if they're doing wrong, if they're not voting the way that you want them to vote, you need to vote for another person that will support you. And right now we are seeing politicians that are failing to support the people in a time of crisis, both economic crisis as well as the virus, health and economic, both aspects. They're failing to want to do anything. And some politicians want to do things, want to do some stuff, but they can't. They're being blocked. Some politicians don't want to help at all. You have senators. Mitch McConnell himself said 15 to 20 GOP senators do not want another stimulus package at all. Okay, we're not even talking about stimulus checks. We're just talking about a package. So we should know who those politicians are. And I've been doing some research. I'm going to have a list that I'm going to come out with, at least some of the people that I think. What will happen is once they actually vote, then they'll go on record. Then we'll know, okay, yes, this person voted against another stimulus package. But you have politicians that are out there right now, and I'm not saying that, I'm not saying this to just say, to badmouth Republicans, but this is Mitch McConnell, the leader of the Republican Senate, and he is the one that's saying that he's not getting support from 15 to 20 of the GOP senators. And so in this time of economic and health crisis that we're going through right now, you have some politicians that they don't even think it's necessary. Why are we doing all of this? I just want to, be on my recess, and I don't know, it's just crazy to me. It really is. So, yeah, just make sure you know what's going on. You vote and you take part in this whole process, because that's what makes our country united, right? That's the United States. We need to come together as a community and know what's going on with our politicians, hold them accountable. You hold them accountable, we're going to have a better government, because they're going to be like, oh, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be going on a recess every month. Maybe I should be, because they can push to be back. They don't have to be on recess every month. They can change that. And you know how they change it? If we demand that they change it. That's how things change. All right. Looks like they did the final number here, so they will start their debate. They're probably going to take like a 5-minute break or something, and then they'll come back and start their debate. So, okay, so they're just telling us what's expected.
Make any changes until January 1st of next year or the end of the COVID-19 pandemic, whichever is later. The bill also provides $25 billion for the Postal Service to be able to continue that service. They're taking a break here to clean the House chamber ahead of 2 hours of general debate on the measure, with votes expected this afternoon. In the middle of the afternoon, we'll be back to live coverage of the House when they gavel back in. In the meantime, we'll show you the briefing from...
All right, so they went dark. All right, so we'll just switch back over. They're just going to show you some stuff from earlier, but you heard that 2-hour debate. Now, what we'll do, we will, because that's not live now. I need to make sure that I get this live, because this is from earlier today. So I'm hoping that, let me see here. I want to make sure I pull up the latest information here, because it looks like I'm going to play this for you guys right now, and then I'm going to try to make some changes here.
Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House of Representatives.
The prayer will be offered by our chaplain, Father Conroy.
Let us pray. God of us all, thank you for giving us another day. Bless the members of the People's House gathered here at the Capitol for an extraordinary session in extraordinary times. Inspire them with wisdom as they hope to address the needs of our nation in such a difficult period of our shared history. Continue to bless those who labor to attend to the sick among our citizens, and those also who strive to find effective treatments and vaccines. Keep us all safe in your divine mercy. May all that is done this day be for your greater honor and glory. Amen.
Amen. Pursuant to Section 4A of House Resolution 967, the Journal of the Last Days proceeding is approved. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led today by the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Thompson.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I'm just going to go into 1-minute speeches there. Okay. This is the gentlewoman from the Virgin.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from the Virgin Islands seek recognition?
I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First, thank you to the postal workers across this nation who work tirelessly to ensure we receive our mail in a timely fashion and are now doing it under tremendous difficulty. Almost every business from the
The noes have it. The motion is not agreed to. I demand a recorded vote of the yeas and nays.
Pursuant to Section 3 of House Resolution 965, the yeas and nays are ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device.
The House wrapping up debate on a rare Saturday session on a bill that would provide $25 billion to the Postal Service and prohibit any operational changes ahead of the November elections. This is the Republican motion to recommit, a last chance to change the bill before final passage. Just as they're going to the vote, the president tweeting this: representatives of the post office have repeatedly stated they do not need money and will not make changes. This is all another hoax by the Democrats to give $25 billion, unneeded dollars, for political purposes without talking about the universal mail-in ballot scam. The president tweets further that, quote, they are trying to pull off in violation of everything that our country stands for. Vote no to the Pelosi-Schumer money-wasting hoax, which is taking place now.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Washington seek recognition?
All right, so just to fill you guys in, so they're just voting to make changes, and I guess I was on the other live, and I don't know what they did, if they recorded it over. I don't know what was going on, but anyway, I had to jump into the latest feed here. So they're just voting on to make any changes, and then they'll actually vote on the bill. Let's go back in there.
Now, pursuant to HRES 965, I inform the House that Mr. Grijalva will vote no on the motion to recommit.
For what purpose does the gentleman from North Carolina seek recognition?
All right,
Mr. Speaker, as a member designated by Mr. Price of North Carolina, pursuant to HRES 965, I inform the House that Mr. Price will vote no. He will vote
Okay. I just wanted to switch it over. Yeah, we were watching an older feed. I don't know what was going on there. And then it clicked over. So I'm glad I caught that before the end. We would have been watching this whole thing and been like, yeah, it's already been voted on. Sorry. No, we're just waiting on this last one here, and then I'm not sure if they're going to have one more debate right before the passage or not. Yeah, no, it just says they're voting on it next. So yeah, it looks like the bill will be voted on next. So anyway, yeah, let's just continue talking. We'll go back over there as soon as they do the final vote. But yeah, if you guys have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. We'll talk a little bit about that and anything else you guys want to talk about. But let's see. Yeah, so they're just still talking. Okay. I'm a little distracted. Sorry. I got stuff coming through my ear while I'm trying to talk to you guys at the same time. So it's a little off-putting. But we'll get it done. Okay. So questions, guys. Any questions? Go ahead and put it in the chat. Like I said, after we're done here, we're going to go over to the Discord, and we will we'll do a giveaway over at the Discord. So $50 Cash App giveaway. You need to have Cash App. So if you don't have Cash App, you're not going to qualify. And what I'll do is I will ask you to give me your Cash App plus an emoji, a certain emoji. So I'm not going to tell you what that emoji is until we actually do it. And that way it's a secret to everyone. Let's see. Because before I was just asking for your Cash App, so everybody had cut and paste they had their Cash App copied, and as soon as I announced it, then they would put it out real quick. But now you're going to have to do a little bit extra, so it just makes it a little more fair for everyone. Let's see. And you know what? It's going to be interesting to see what happens with this. Like, okay, so they passed this, and what does that mean? What happens next? Does it goes to the Senate? Senate's not going to come back until September 8th. Are they going to vote on this? Or are they just going to pass it up and move on? So that's going to be interesting. They know, Republicans know that Democrats really want, and actually both Republicans and Democrats want this Postal Service to run smooth. Like, they don't want there to be any problems. Now, they might not want to provide $25 billion. I think in this skinny bill that they're proposing, they're talking about proposing, there is some money for the Postal Service. So they are addressing it. Both sides do want to address the fact that the Postal Service is struggling right now because they know it's an election coming up, and they want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to vote. However, what is the Senate going to do with this bill? Are they going to do anything with it, or are they going to use this as leverage to get the HEALS Act passed? So we'll have to see how the Senate responds to this. But we need to see some action in the Senate. We're not seeing any action. That's the big problem. So yeah, you're seeing a lot of no votes in this recommit to make changes. And a lot of people we'll have to see if there's some more votes in the future. But let's see. All right. Any questions, guys? Go ahead and put them in the chat. Yellow Jacket saying, don't vote. No, vote. Yeah, not voting isn't helping. That doesn't help anything, especially if you don't like the people who are in office. Not voting is keeping them in office, because usually when you have a good voter turnout, that's when those people they lose their seats, because you have people who are eager to get them out of their seats. That's why the voter turnout increases. But low voter turnout, it's almost always benefits the person who's in office. All righty. All right, guys. Where are we here? Didn't realize this was going to take this long to have something happen. Let's see what she's saying here.
That Ms. DeGette will vote no on the motion to recommit on H.R. 8015.
All right. So they're still working on the recommit here. Let's see. Emporium. I can't read your first name, but will this move the markets on Monday? I don't know. I really don't. It's actually nothing will happen until September, until Senate comes back. So this is just going to be one of those things that it's going to be like the HEROES Act, unfortunately, where it was passed and it just kind of sat around. And then when the House or when the Senate came back, then they decided, or they kind of said it was dead on arrival. Maybe we will hear some stuff from the senators. They might say some stuff right after it's approved by the House. You might hear something, but there should be urgency for the Senate to come back. But it's going to be up to Mitch McConnell to make that call. Let's see. Todd's asking about the $600 boost. Do I think it's too much? Well, see, the way that they had it, designed, I just get a glimpse out of the corner of my eye. That's my congressman there. Yeah, the way that they had it designed, they just wanted to streamline it, right? They didn't want to make it too difficult for the unemployment offices to calculate. That's why they went with the 600. I think it's good for some. It's not good for others. The fact that some people were making more money, I mean, in a crisis situation, I think it's okay. Now, long term, no, I don't think long term. If you're going to look for, let's say they had the $600 until the end of this year, I think that still would have been fine. We're still in a crisis right now. The things aren't getting better. Like we're still struggling. I mean, you're seeing the whole situation right now where kids are going back to school and they're getting the virus, and so we're not over this yet. And so I think it would be appropriate to keep it going until the pandemic subsides. But I think it had a major impact on our economy in a positive way. I think a lot of people were out spending money, and that's a good thing. And now in the next couple of months, if we don't have anything going on, things aren't. I think our economy is gonna suffer in the next couple of months because of this. Let's see. Oh, you guys are going crazy in the chat right now. Let's see here. And Amber's asking about that. Do you think there'll be a second wave with kids going back to school? That's a very, very good possibility. Yeah, that and the season that we're going to be coming into flu season very soon, so that's going to be extra added stuff. We'll find out very, very soon when it comes to kids going back to school. Some kids have already started to go back to school. Some will be going back to school in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see. What's going on, Kenneth? Yeah, I didn't get a chance to read that article, but that article, so I don't know how valid that is, but Germany's getting $1,400 a month, universal basic income. So I'll have to look more into that. But yeah, I mean, other countries, they're being taken care of. It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me that we are a superpower and we're struggling to get people on board for a $1,200 stimulus check, a second $1,200 stimulus check. I think it's really crazy, and we're not helping. We're not helping anything. We're not helping ourselves when it comes to remaining where we are. Like, I mean, it only helps to invest in the people. Just like it helps to invest in business, it helps to invest in the people. And if we fail to do that, then we're going to have a rough road and a slow what's the word I'm looking for? I'm getting all tongue-tied now. It's going to be a slow rise again. It's going to take us a long time to get back to where we were. So it's time to invest in ourselves right now. What do you think about the extra $18 from the IRS? I don't know what you're saying there. Let's see. So Rory's asking about the enhanced unemployment. Let's see. Will they have the same rule about the $100 or less to qualify? That's going to be open. Like, I don't know. I don't even know why they even put that in there, to be honest with you. But that was for the executive order. Memoranda, but if it's a bill, a stimulus package, it probably won't be in there. the reason that they did this for, well, I guess I know the reason. I know the reason they did it for the executive order is because they only had a certain amount of funds, and so they wanted to kind of, cut down and extend it a little bit longer, even though it's only 4 to 5 weeks. And so I think with another stimulus package, they'll probably be able to provide it for the vast majority of everyone. All right, they're still voting on this. Okay. So we'll wait. We'll wait a little bit longer here. I am doing good, Russell. How are you doing? All right, guys. If you guys are in here right now and you have not hit that like button, please do that for me. It will help out with the YouTube algorithm, bring some more people in here. And we're just kind of waiting right now. I want to see the final vote, and then we're going to go over to the Discord, and then we'll do a drawing over there, a giveaway over there. I keep saying drawing. I don't know why. We'll do a giveaway over there. And guys saying all the Americans need money right now, $1,200. Yeah, see, this is not helping. Being cheap is not helping at this point. And I know I keep saying that. I've said it before. It's going to cost more money in the long run. And it's unfortunate that we have politicians that either they don't want to see it, or they just don't realize, yes, it's going to cost more money in the long run. Because if people are out of jobs, then guess what? They need to get enhanced unemployment, or they need to get unemployment period. And that's going to be a longer period of people being on unemployment. So that's going to mean more money. So if you try to be tight right now, then you're going to have to spend more money in the future. And we're already seeing it. The executive order just showed you. The executive order, they're pulling money from different places, pulling money that we don't have yet, the payroll tax deferral, and then they're going to have to go to Congress to try to see if they can get that money, so people don't have to, pay this deferment back, because that's what it is. It's a loan. You're getting a loan, involuntary. It's going to be up to your company to decide. Okay, are they going to let you have this free payroll tax deferral? Or free, I shouldn't say free. Are they going to let you have the payroll tax deferral or not? And so it's crazy that we're in a situation like this, but that's all because a package couldn't get done because of money. And so now you're going to spend more money to do these executive orders, and then probably do a stimulus package on top of that. It just, it doesn't make any sense. All right. Let's go over to the floor here. All right, there's no volume right now. So we have zeros now. Time is done. So we'll write it out here. I'll turn the volume up and down as they come back. Or is everything frozen right now? Everything looks frozen to me. What is going on? I told you this is the first time I've done this live, so they're moving. Why aren't they moving on my screen? Let's see here. It just stops on its own. Yeah, this is harder than I thought to do this little live thing. Okay. Looks like we're back in session. It does say that it's live. All right, let's go to some more questions. I'll open it up just a little bit so you guys can hear the floor, what's going on down there. Norm, oh, where was that question? Sonny's asking, does the Electoral College decide? Let me turn that
For
down.
what purpose does the gentleman from California seek recognition?
All right.
Mr. Khanna, pursuant to HRES 965, I inform the House.
All right, they're still voting. So there was a question as far as Electoral College. Does it decide the Congress and the Senate? No. So the Congress and the Senate, so if you have a person who's running for the House of Representatives, they have certain districts throughout the country, and so they run in that district. And if it's a senator, you have 2 senators each state, and so that's how that plays out. So the senators are running statewide. So like Mitch McConnell, he's running Kentucky statewide race, and then you'll have your House of Representatives. So these people here that are talking, these people all have districts. All right. All right, guys, any questions? Go ahead and put them in the chat. We're just trying to buy some time right now, waiting for this to all play out. I thought we would be able to hear some more debate, but unfortunately, I think they stopped the live feed and they started up another one. So we missed a lot of the debate, but that's okay. I will go back and listen to some of the debate and maybe put a video out tomorrow if there's some good information that came out of the debate. I just wanted to hear if there was any interest in this skinny bill, or if they were going to talk more about that, which I don't think they did. So we'll have to see. Let's see. What exactly are they trying to change at the moment, or at the last moment? So the Republicans in the House, they want to make some revisions. I don't know exactly what. That's a good question. I don't know exactly what they want to change or add. They might want to add some stuff to it. That's probably what they want to do. And so that's why they're doing this vote. But like I said, Nancy Pelosi already has the numbers. She already knows this is all just window dressing. This is, a done deal. What I was hoping, looking forward to, which looks like we're not going to see it, but I wanted to hear the debate. I wanted to hear the people debate. Daniel saying looks like the vote is bye-bye. I don't know why you would say that. This is not the vote for the bill right now. Russell's asking, do you think essential workers will get hazard pay? Yeah, I don't know anymore. I don't know anymore. 2 months ago, I would have said, yeah. Right after the HEROES Act, I was like, yeah, this looks like it will happen. But now, as time moves on and on, as people forget about it. Politicians, they conveniently forget about it, and it's unfortunate. It really is. But that's kind of how things work. You just kind of push it off, and then you don't have to deal with it because the public they're not seeing it the way that they used to. Like now that things are getting, they're not even getting close to normal, but now that things are starting to open up again, there's not really that big push like there was before for essential workers. Larry King, what's going on, brother? Why Trump's not there? Trump doesn't need to be here. Now, I will say, he should be in the negotiating room or at least maybe not even in the negotiating room, but at least calling on the phone, talking with Nancy Pelosi, talking with Chuck Schumer, talking with the other side, maybe meeting if that's necessary. But he doesn't have to be here. This is so you have the legislative branch, you have the executive branch. This is all legislative right now. Yeah, he doesn't need to be there. I did hear that Mark Meadows was going to be around the area somewhere. He's probably not in the chamber right now, but I did hear that Mark Meadows, who's the chief of staff, he's in on the negotiations with Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Stephen Mnuchin. There was talk that he was going to be there. And Doe's asking, is Trump the leader or Pelosi? So Pelosi is the Speaker of the House. Okay, so she is the leader of the House. And we know Trump is the president, right? And the Speaker of the House, and this is arguably, there's debate on this, but the Speaker of the House, and this is the way I feel about it, and this is the way I was taught when I studied political science. Speaker of the House is the most powerful position in the government. And because she holds the purse, as well as she calls stuff to the floor, so she calls legislation to the floor. Because when you have a president running for office, what do all presidents do? They all tell you what they want to do. They I want to do this, I want to do that. Well, they can't do that stuff without money, and so they need the speaker. And so, because of that, they have to play nice with the speaker. They should be playing nice with the speaker, and the speaker carries a lot of that power, and she can make or break a presidency just on her own, because she can just do nothing if she wants. So, yeah, and she's second in line to the president. And you have the vice president. So, God forbid if something were to happen to the president, you have the vice president, and then you have the Speaker of the House. So she is second in line to the president when it comes to secession. So. All right, they're still chatting. All right, guys, any other questions while we await this final vote here? All right. Yeah, I actually hope, and I was just looking at some of the stuff, a lot of people upset with our government. I really hope that this really gets people focused on the importance of voting and the importance of knowing who your politicians are. It's funny, I was having a conversation with someone, a friend of mine, a month ago, and we were just talking about different things, politics and stuff like that, and this person had no idea who their congressperson was. And I think that's a big problem, because when you have complaints about your government and you don't even know who when it comes to the federal side, you don't even know who that person that represents your district, you don't even know who that person is, that's a big problem. Because who are you really holding accountable other than the fact that you're just complaining about things? You don't even know who that person is. And so at the very least, you should know their name. And then if you have issues, follow up by giving them a phone call or email or send them a letter or something. I'm not saying that always works, but at least if you know who that person is, you can hold them accountable if there are things that are going on that you don't agree with. So I just found that interesting. Like, I'm having this discussion with this person, and they don't even know who their person is, and they don't know who a lot of the people in government are, other than the president. It's pretty crazy. I remember back in the day, Jay Leno used to. I think it was Jay Leno or Conan. Maybe it was Conan O'Brien. He used to go around with these pictures of politicians and he would and these are like well-known or should be well-known politicians, and he'd go around and he'd show them pictures. Who is this? And they would be, and a lot of people would look at it and they didn't know who that person was. And it's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a nerd when it comes to politics, but you need to know who these people are. These people can make or break a lot of situations, and we're seeing it right now with this crisis that's going on. So, yeah, if you don't know who your who your local politicians are, all you need to do is Google it. Google your city, put your address in there. They'll tell you exactly where your district is, who your congressperson is, how long they've been in office, and of course, their party affiliation, all that stuff. And then you can go to their website. You go to their website, look at their press release. You can see this different things that they've done in the last few years, just so you kind of have an idea of, okay, what do they support? Do they support stimulus checks? Do they not support stimulus checks? A lot of that information will be there, so you can see it. Let's see. All right, let's see. They should be coming to the end here. And Daniel's saying that I wish they showed this much urgency when it comes to, or when it came to stimulus. I agree. The only problem is we haven't seen the urgency. We have not seen the urgency in the Senate. That's the problem. And until we see urgency in the Senate, we haven't seen this. Well, I think they worked. Well, the CARES Act was totally different. Like, everybody was on board for that, but we have not seen the urgency in the Senate to forego recess to come back early and do different things. We just haven't seen that. Now, I will say the House, they've come back twice. This is their second time coming back well, we'll see if the bill gets approved, which I'm pretty sure it will, but this is their second time. They did it with the HEROES Act. They came back on May 15th. They got that passed. And now they're coming back and they're going to get this passed. So the urgency is not coming from one part of, one branch of the legislative branch, the Senate. That's the part that's not doing anything, and they're not showing urgency. So we just need to understand that the House is doing stuff. The Senate is not. They're not passing anything at this point. And that's what we need. We need the Senate to pass something. Okay. So the IRS was sending $18. I didn't know anything about that. What did they? Or was that the interest or something like that they were sending? Stimulus check update. So all YouTubers are clickbait. No person's making stimulus check videos to make them for fun. They do it to make money. Okay, well, people are on YouTube and they're making money on YouTube. But you can, hey, however you want to feel. I like your title, though, stimulus check update. So he's probably doing his own stimulus check videos. But I do enjoy talking about the politics and stuff like that. But hey, however you see it. Let's see. Yeah, I have the video turned down, and because they're not really talking about anything. I can hear it through my ear.
Speaker, as the member designated by Ms. Porter,
they're just voting
House Resolution
on this bill.
965, I inform the House that
Not
Ms.
this
Porter
bill, but they're
will
voting
vote
on
no on the motion to recommit.
So they're voting on recommitting, so changing the bill. That's all they're voting on. That's why I have it down. Unless you guys just want me to keep it up so you can hear them keep saying the same thing. What they're doing is, and the House is getting a little full now, so they're getting ready to do the big vote. But what they're doing now is you're having people come up and vote for others. They're not all voting. They're not all on the floor. You'd have 435 people on the floor at the same time. COVID-19, yeah, it's just not going to work. So that's how they're kind of doing this, where people are coming out and they might vote on someone's behalf. All right. All right, guys, questions. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. What, the Discord chat was invaded? With what? Who's in that Discord chat? We'll have to take care of that after. Where are they putting all this? People are just crazy. All right, let me take care of this. Unbelievable. Thank you for letting me know that, Sherry. I'll try to deal with it right now. If I can here, let's see. All right, guys, give me 1 second. We have someone in our Discord that doesn't want to follow the rules. Ay. All right. Okay. All right. I think that guy's gone now. All right. Other questions, guys? Go ahead and put it in the chat. And like I said, we'll just wait a little bit longer. I did not know it was going to take this long. We've been on live for how long? Let's see here. We've been live for 2 hours. All right. Vote already. Kamiru, no problem, man. No problem. And King is saying the House is wasting their time. You know what? We'll see. We'll see. I mean, they'll vote on this and send it over to the Senate, and we'll see what happens. But like I said, our focus right now, the fact that we're upset right now really shouldn't be on the House. It should be on the Senate, because they're the ones that are showing that they don't want to do anything. Okay. And so that's where we should be really putting pressure on the Senate to do something. You know, I'm not giving the House a pass, okay? I'm not giving Nancy Pelosi a pass. But when you look at what's going on, we can't get anything done until the Senate does something. They have to approve something. And then it goes to the House. And then the House is going to have to decide if they want to go on it. And then we could say, yeah, you know what? The House is holding everything up. But we haven't even gotten to that point yet. You guys are here talking about clickbait. The undisputed clickbait king. Michael. I don't even know who that is. You guys are crazy. All right, let's see. Gang is saying add stimulus checks to it. Yeah, they tried that. Some Democrats wanted to put that in there, but Nancy Pelosi does not want to do that. Kari's asking, do you think they disagree on the dependent amount, and that's why no stimulus check yet? I don't even think I think that the Democrats would still be okay with $1,200 and the $500 per dependent. I think that they would be okay with that, only because they were okay with it before. So I don't think that that's the reason. I think that's better than no stimulus check at all, and I think that they would probably agree. So I think it's the main thing that they're really focused on right now, the Democrats, is the state funding, state and local funding. They want money for state and local funding, or state and local governments, and Republicans are very, very reluctant to send the amount of money that Democrats want. Democrats want like almost $1 trillion. The Republicans, they don't want to go over, I think, another 150 billion is where they want to be when it comes to that. But I mean, you have different states with different needs, and you have some large states that have really had to put a lot of money into this virus, and ultimately it helps us all. The whole money debate when it comes to state and local governments, they're going to get that money back. Like, state and local governments pay into the federal government, so they'll still recoup a lot of that money. The federal government will. But if you don't do anything, or if you don't give them enough, then what you're going to have is you're going to have a lot of people who work for state and local governments get laid off. And then now you have a whole nother problem, because now they're going to be on unemployment, and they're going to be taking more money from the state, and these states are really going to be suffering. And so, yeah, it's one of those deals where that's the big hang up, I think, the state and local funding. But they just need to, the federal government just needs to understand this is about everybody. And I think we've gotten to a point now where we're so divided as a country, Republican, Democrat, where it's looked at, oh, I don't want to send money to these Democratic states. And that's what's kind of coming out now. It's ridiculous, because you have both Democrats and Republicans that are in all of these states. And so you're not just hurting Democrats. If you don't give money to California, you're not just hurting Democrats, because guess what? You have Republicans that live in California, and some Republicans might be working for state and local government. And some of those, so it's really a sad way to look at things. But you're hearing that. Oh, we don't want to give money to these Democratic states. It's crazy. And I've heard that from several politicians that have said that they don't want to give money, and they don't want to, give money to the pensions, because the pensions were mismanaged. Well, guess what? Those pensions, people were working for those pensions, right? And so, the people aren't going to get their pensions. So now you're going to hurt the person who worked 30 years and and earned this pension. Now you're going to hurt them because of something that someone else did. Someone in the government messed up their pensions or what have you. And let's face it, the politicians that are telling you that we need to be fiscally conservative and not spend all this money, guess what? They spend all this money. It's like we pay our taxes, and the money goes to them, to the politicians, and they see, how they spend the money on different things. So it's like, you talk about states mismanaging money, and you have the federal government, politicians mismanaging money. That's why we're in a deficit right now, because they're mismanaging money. And so you have one politician at the federal level saying that the state level, they're mismanaging money, when the person that's saying it is mismanaging money. It's crazy because if they weren't, then we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in. So it's just crazy when you think about how politicians can say one thing and it's like, okay, well, you're doing the same thing that you're criticizing another person for doing. Okay. All right, let me. NX says he works for the post office, so he feels bad when people badmouth it. I worked for the post office for 2 years. That's hard work. That's for sure. So, yeah, they should not be bad. I mean, the post office has actually been there helping people. And you don't make a lot of money working for the post office. And let's face it, our mail usually gets here on time. Like we usually don't have a problem with mail and stuff like that. But now it looks like people are starting to have problems with getting their mail on time. DJ, thank you very much for the membership there. Thank you very much. Let's see. Kamiru says, thanks for explaining so well. Yeah, anytime. If you guys have questions, go ahead and put it in the chat while we wait for this final recommit bill to be voted on. Let's see. Carolyn, thank you very much for your membership. Thank you for joining the TEC family. You guys are all part of the TEC family. I'm going to have to think of something different. You guys are part of the family. Membership is, we'll have to think of something else for that group. Yeah, it's hard work. Camaro was just saying that they're delivering mail, rain, snow, tornadoes. Yeah, I mean, the Postal Service does a lot. And like I said, the 2 years that I worked there, the only thing I didn't like about it is it's just too repetitive for me. I want to be able to do different things. And when you're at the post office, you work on a machine. If you work a machine, depending on what you're doing, I guess if you're a mail carrier, then it's a little different. You can kind of mix your day up. But it's just the same thing every day for 8 hours. So that's the only thing that's crazy about working in the warehouse. Miss Happy Apple, thank you very much. I know you are working hard today. Ay. I see stuff just coming up and then getting deleted right away when people are saying stuff they shouldn't. Okay. And remember, guys, we're going to do a $50 Cash App giveaway as soon as they vote on this last bill here. Then we'll go over and do that in the Discord. So you're going to want to go over to the Discord, and we'll do that over there. All right. Are they almost done here? I knew it would be crazy doing it live because they just take their time. Yeah. They take their time. There is no rush. It's crazy. And it's a Saturday, too. You would think they want to hurry up and get this stuff done and get out of there, but apparently they just, I don't know. Laura's asking, are they on break again? I think they're tallying up the final numbers, and then they'll probably go on a break and then come back. And I'm hoping this feed is the most current. It's weird how C-SPAN does this, where they don't. Sometimes they just end the video, or in the live feed. Let me just check. Let's see if it's the same here. Yeah, it's the same. All right. Yes, it's taking too long. I agree with you. Is it Leta? I agree. But if you guys have questions, I can do Q&A right now, so we can just talk. Give me something to talk about. Little Bird, they're voting right now to see if they want to make any changes to this post office bill. That's what they're voting on right now. And they should be done with this vote. But they're still, I don't know. $2,000 a month for all will fix all. That's Eve saying that. Yeah, that was the talk. I remember when they were talking about that. Well, it didn't go that far, but at least people were mentioning it. I haven't heard anything lately. All right. Let's see. All righty. Man, I've taken a nap by now. Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. I'm telling you, they are working. They're probably getting overtime right now. They're working by the hour. Like, let's drag this out. All right, guys, give me some questions. Let's mix this up. Explain the bill. Linda's asking that. So basically, there are two major things that they're focused on. The first thing is the $25 billion to go to the post office, just to allow them to have the funding that they need, especially for the election. That's the big thing. They want to make sure they have enough money for the election, for absentee ballots as well as a vote by mail. So that's the main focus. And then they also want the post office to be able to go back to January 1st as far as the levels of the way that it was running back on January 1st. They want to go back to that. So there have been some cuts, some reductions, some machines that have been taken out, things like that. So they want to get them back to the normal operations. That way they can prepare. They'll be ready for what's going to happen when it comes to our election. And because of COVID-19, there are probably going to be a lot more people that are going to vote by mail or do the absentee. And so because of that, they want to make sure those ballots get there on time. Some states have rules where each state is different, but some states have rules where the ballot has to get there on the same day that before the end of the election day. So, and that's no fault of your own, right? Let's say 7 days ago I did my absentee ballot and I sent my absentee ballot in, but it got stuck in the mail, and so it didn't get there. It didn't get to the polling place in time or wherever it needs to go, probably the county recorder or whatever. It didn't get there in time. Well, some states will say that vote doesn't count. And so that's why they need to make sure that they're fully funded, the post office is fully funded and ready to handle any situation that might occur. So that's what they're voting on. Those are the two major things. We're not going to see anything when it comes to stimulus checks or anything like that. And I'm still interested to see what this skinny bill that the GOP senators have in mind. I want to see what that looks like. They were supposed to release that a couple of days ago, and they never did. So that leads me to believe, well, that could be a good thing. That could be, they teased the fact that they didn't have stimulus checks in there. They could have teased that. You had some Senate aides that were saying that the stimulus check's not going to be in there. So they could have put that out there just to get the public reaction. And now that they see that the public is upset about that, maybe they will throw a stimulus check in there. And so if you have a skinny bill with the stimulus check in there and the enhanced unemployment, the eviction moratorium, like a real eviction moratorium, not this eviction assistance, and then you put in hazard pay, Nancy Pelosi couldn't say no to that if that were on the table. But we'll have to see where they go with it. But that would be a winner. But of course, the Republicans are going to want to put in liability protection, and they're going to want to reduce the amount of money for state and local governments. So that's something else, which I think Nancy Pelosi will be open to, and I think she's actually said that she's open to pushing it off until January. But yeah, as far as state and local funding, because they do have money now, and there's been money in the CARES Act that was allocated for state and local government, so they can still potentially have some money come their way. They just need to be able to make it a little more flexible with how they use the money. That's the problem. The money was only supposed to be allocated for certain things, and one of the things that they want to do with the HEALS Act is they want to open it up so they have a little more flexibility in how they use this money. And so if they do that, then state and local governments can have, because I think it's like $150 billion, they'll have some money that they can use for now, and then maybe in January, then they can talk about doing something more comprehensive when it comes to state and local government. Jorge's asking, is the unemployment approved in Texas? You're going to have to check. Each state is going to be different. They all applied. They had to apply for this. Some states they wanted to opt out, so they didn't do it at all. But you'll have to check with your local state, or with your local state. You'll have to check with your state to see if they're on board for. So Carolyn's asking, this is a good question here. What happens with the enhanced unemployment if there's storms headed? So basically, if you have storms or tornadoes or anything like that, what happens with the enhanced unemployment? Basically, okay, so they just voted on that bill there. So basically, they still have $25 billion that they couldn't spend from FEMA. So they still have money, but you might have let's see what's going on here.
Then yeas and nays are ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device.
All right. So now they're going to record.
The House moves on to final passage on a bill that provides $25 billion to the Postal Service, prohibits any operational changes ahead of the November election.
Or the microphones. For what purpose does the gentleman from California seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, as member designated by
Blue Korea.
Congressmember Napolitano,
That's by
pursuant
Congressman.
to House Resolution 965, I inform the House that Ms. Napolitano will vote yes on H.R. 8015.
All right. So they're voting now. So here we go. Yeah, so we'll. You got people yelling and talking, all out of order.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Texas seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, as a member designated by Ms. Escobar of Texas, pursuant to H.Res. 965, I inform the House that Ms. Escobar votes yes on H.R. 8015.
Okay. So basically, you have people voting in place of other people, just because they can't all be on the floor at the same time.
Pursuant to House Resolution 965, I inform the House the Representative Robert will vote yes on final passage of H.R. 8015, the Delivering for America Act.
All right, we'll just keep it running here. We're going to keep going back and forth. But you guys can still hear me, so when they come back
For
and
what purpose does the distinguished chairman from the state of New Jersey seek recognition?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As the member designated by Ms. Bonnie Watson Coleman pursuant to House Resolution 965, I inform the House that Ms. Watson Coleman will vote yes on final passage. And as the member designated by Mr. Bill Pascrell pursuant to House Resolution 965, I inform the House that Mr. Bill Pascrell will vote yes on final passage. And as the member designated by Mr. Albio Series pursuant to House Resolution 965, I inform the House that Mr. Albio Series will vote yes on final passage. And as the member designated by Mr. Elliot Engel pursuant to House Resolution 965, I inform the House that Mr. Elliot Engel will vote yes on final passage. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Does the gentleman from the city of Chicago seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, as a member designated by Mr. Grijalva pursuant to H.Res. 965, I inform the House that Mr. Grijalva will be voting yea on H.R. 8015.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from California seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, as a member designated by Mr. Desagnes of California, pursuant to 8 Reg 965, I inform the House that Mr. Desagnes will vote yes on H.R. 8015.
Can you hear him now, or is it too low? Let me know,
For what
guys.
purpose does the gentleman from the state of New York seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, as the member designated by Representative Lowy, pursuant to HRS 965, I inform the House that Representative Lowy will vote aye on HR 8015.
For what purpose does the gentleman from the state of Virginia seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, as the member designated by Ms. Titus of Nevada, pursuant to House Resolution 965, I inform the House that Ms. Titus will vote yea on the underlying bill.
Miss Titus, she was my old professor in college.
For what purpose does the distinguished gentlewoman from the state of Virginia seek recognition?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As the member designated by Ms. Porter pursuant to House Resolution 965, I inform the House that Ms. Porter will vote yes on H.R. 8015.
Thank you.
For what purpose does the distinguished gentlewoman from the state of Massachusetts seek recognition?
Member designated by Representative Ilhan Omar pursuant to H.Res. 965, I inform the House that Representative Omar will vote yes on H.R. 8015.
For what purpose does the distinguished gentlewoman from the state of Pennsylvania seek recognition?
By Mr. Bradley Schneider of Illinois, pursuant to House Resolution 965, I inform the House that Mr. Schneider will vote yes on H.R. 8015.
I just heard someone talking about trying to get on a plane. So they don't realize the mic is open and they're talking. They want to get out of there as soon as they're done. All right, they're turning the mic up and down, so you might not be able to hear it, but that's only because they turned it down. It's nothing I can do.
For what purpose does the distinguished gentlewoman from the state of Pennsylvania seek recognition?
As the designated by Ms. Spear of California pursuant to House Resolution 965, I inform the House that Ms. Spear will vote yes on H.R. 8015.
All right, so they're just going to keep doing the votes. And I think it was Kevin that was writing won't pass the Senate. And there's a very good possibility that it won't pass the Senate. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what they do with this once it gets over there. I don't see the Senate coming back early. You have the Republican National Convention starting next week, and so they're not going to be ready to come back. They're going to want to do, and it is, and this is one of those things where it is kind of you're playing politics, right? So you have Nancy Pelosi waiting until Saturday to vote on this bill, knowing that the Republicans have the National Convention the week after that, and so knowing that they're probably not going to be, going, right? Even though it's going to be they're having the virtual convention. Even still, it's kind of one of those things where, hey, I'm going to mess with them, in that sense. I'm going to put it out right before the convention. But after the convention, they can go ahead and take care of whatever they need to take care of. They don't have to wait until September 8th in order to come back. They could do it before then. So it's going to be up to Mitch McConnell to do whatever he wants to do with that. He doesn't have to wait. What I'm saying is, after the convention, he does not have to wait until September 8th to come back on their from their normal recess. He can come back before then and handle it if he wants to. All right, let's go back in there.
I inform the House that Mr. Huffman will vote yes on H.R. 8015. As the member designated by Mr. Horsford of Nevada pursuant to H.Res. 965, I inform the House that Mr. Horsford will vote yes on H.R. 8015. As the member designated by Mr. Thompson of California, I inform the House that Mr. Thompson will vote yes on H.R. 8015. As the member designated by Mr. Panetta of California, pursuant to H.Res. 965, I inform the House that Mr. Panetta will vote yes on H.R. 8015.
All right, so they're about halfway there now, so they're almost down. You guys, I don't know if you guys heard, but when I said Dina Titus, she's a congresswoman. So she was my old professor when I went to UNLV, and it's a funny story. I'll tell you guys real quick about her. So she was she was a state senator back then, and Nevada's a little different. Nevada has, you have your state representatives. Now, this is not; these aren't federal. They work for the state. They're state politicians. They're not federal, so they're not Congress people. They're Assembly people, Senate. So she was the Senate. She might have even been the Senate leader at the time. But anyway, they only do part-time. They have a part-time legislation or part-time legislators in Nevada. So they're not full-time. Like California, we have a full-time legislators. So they only meet like maybe 3-4 months out of the year. Anyway, so she was a professor at UNLV, and there was one day where I had a final, and I tried to cram for this final, and it was one of those things where I'd never really crammed before, but I had to cram for this final, and I stayed up all night, didn't go to sleep. And so I went in for the final, and it was in her class. Now, I'd been in the class the whole time, and in political science, most of your tests, they're essays. So you write like 3 or 4 essays. So you really need to know your stuff, right? You can't really fake it. You got to know, like, if they ask you a question, you have to be able to answer it, and it has to make sense. And so anyway, I go in there, and I'd been in her class. I've been in several of her classes, and so I'd always done well. I've always done well in political science because it's always been interesting to me. But this test, I just I couldn't process. Like I'd been up all night, so I wasn't even thinking straight. And so I was the last person in the test. And so time was up, and she came over and grabbed my packet, and she was like, "So how'd you do?" And I'm like, "I don't think I did well. I was really out of it." And she was like, "Oh, I'm sure you did fine." I was like, I don't really think I did." And you're talking, we can hear. Are you guys, you can hear me, right? Okay. I'll turn that back on in a second. I just want to tell you the story real quick. But anyway, so she said, you know what, come down to my office tomorrow and we'll talk about it. And so I came down to her office the next day. I think I got like I had a C- on the essay. And so she sat down, or I sat down, and she was like, and she just started talking to me, just asking me questions about what was on the test, like on the essay, and just asking me to answer the questions. And sure enough, I knew all the stuff. I needed rest, basically. So I knew all the stuff, and I just told her, and she was like, oh, okay. And then she grabbed it, and she gave me like a B+ or something like that. But I'll never forget that, because it was one time where I was just like, oh my God, I messed up on my final. And she saw that, like, okay, he knows what he's doing, but he knows he knows his stuff. I know he does, because he's been in this class. He's done well this whole time, but he just had a bad day. And so she helped me out there, so I appreciate it. All right, let's go back in.
On HR 8015. Thank you.
Gentleman from the state of California, seek recognition.
Mr. Speaker, as the member designated by Dr. Barra pursuant to House Resolution 965, I inform the House that Dr. Barra will vote yes on H.R. 8015. As the member designated by Dr. Ruiz pursuant to House Resolution 965, I inform the House that Dr. Ruiz will vote yes on H.R. 8015. And as the member designated by Ms. Sanchez pursuant to House Resolution 965, I inform the House that Ms. Sanchez will vote yes on H.R. 8015.
Says the distinguished gentlewoman from the state of Florida, seek recognition.
As the member designated by Ms. Mukasel Powell of Florida pursuant to H.Res. 965, I inform the House that Ms. Mukasel Powell will vote yea on H.R. 8015. And as the member designated by Mr. Hastings of Florida pursuant to H.Res. 965, I inform the House that Mr. Hastings will vote yea on H.R. 8015. And as the member designated by Mr. Payne of New Jersey pursuant to H.Res. 965, I inform the House that Mr. Payne will also vote yea on H.R. 8015.
All right. Almost there. I'm just waiting it out only because we've been waiting this whole time. Normally, I would have ended the live stream a long time ago. We've been
For what purpose does the gentleman from the state of California seek recognition?
2.5 hours.
As a member designated by Mr. Garamendi pursuant to House Res. 965, I inform the House that Mr. Garamendi will vote yes on H.R. 8015.
Does the gentleman from the state of Arizona seek recognition?
Member designated by Representative Kirkpatrick pursuant to H.R. 965, I inform the House that Representative Kirkpatrick will vote yes on H.R. 8015.
For what purpose?
Mr. Speaker, as the member designated by Mr. Peters of California pursuant to H.Res. 965, I inform the House that Mr. Peters will vote yes on H.R. 8015.
For what purpose does the gentleman from the state of Tennessee seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, as the member designated by Mr. Lipinski pursuant to H.Res. 965, I inform the House that Mr. Lipinski will vote yes on H.R. 8015. And as the member designated by Mr. Costa pursuant to H.Res. 965, I inform the House.
Okay, so they're just continuing. There's a good question here from Ruth as far as, will this mean that they will get back to passing the stimulus checks now that this gets done? Well, the problem, and the problem is going to continue to be the Senate until they do something. So the Senate has to make a move. If the Senate never makes a move, then we're just going to continue just to not, we'll be in a stalemate. So the Senate has to make a move. The House is doing stuff right now. This has no bearing on what's going on in the Senate. The Senate is going to need to move forward with something. The fact that they're negotiating right now, or they were negotiating, that's good because they're trying to come on the, get on the same page, but it's really the Senate that's going to have to move forward. they're the ones that have to pass something. So that's what we're waiting on right now. We're waiting on Mitch McConnell to kind of get the votes that he needs in order to get something past the Senate. So that's the whole reason for that skinny bill that they've been talking about. They're trying to craft a bill that they can get through the Senate, and so that's why they're going about that. And the thing is, Nancy Pelosi has the ability to, because she has the votes, she has the ability to pass things. Where Mitch McConnell right now, there's a divide in the Republican Party in the GOP Senate. And so because of that, it's hard for him to just go with the Republican senators and get something done, because you have 15 to 20 senators that don't want another stimulus package. So that right there means that he needs to rely on Democrats. That's why they have to try to work out a deal that's best for both sides. And so that's where we are right now. The Senate has not made a move, and that's what we're waiting on. All right, we should be coming to the end here.
Pursuant to H-Res 965, I've informed the House that Mr. Gonzalez will vote aye on H.R. 8015.
Distinguished gentlewoman from the state of Connecticut, seek recognition.
The member designated Ms. Wilson pursuant to H-Res 965, I inform the House that Ms. Wilson will vote yes on H.R. 8015.
Distinguished gentleman from New York, the Honorable Majority Caucus Chairman, seek recognition.
Mr. Speaker, as the member designated by Chairwoman Eddie Bernice Johnson pursuant to H-Res 965, I inform the House that Chairwoman Johnson will vote yea on H.R. 8015. As the member designated by Chairman Jerry Nadler pursuant to H-Res 965, I inform the House that Chairman Nadler will vote yea on H.R. 8015. As the member designated by Chairwoman Zoe Lofgren pursuant to H-Res 965, I inform the House that Chairwoman Lofgren will vote yea on H.R. 8015. As the member designated by Congressman Jose Serrano pursuant to H-Res 965, I inform the House that Congressman Serrano will vote yea on H.R. 8015.
Purpose does the distinguished Rules Committee Chairman from the state of Massachusetts seek recognition.
As the member designated by Mr. Welsh of Vermont pursuant to H-Res 965, I will inform the House that Mr. Welsh will vote yes on H.R. 8015.
All right, so
This is a gentleman from the state of Virginia, seek recognition.
Like they have the votes
Mr.
already.
Speaker, as the member designated by Mr. Blumenauer, pursuant to House Resolution 965, I inform the House that Mr. Blumenauer will vote.
Yeah, it looks like they have the votes already. And you had, 25 Republicans that voted for it, so that's interesting. Yeah, so they're just going to go through they're just going to continue to vote, but they already have the numbers. All right, so we made it through that. Now we're going to go over to the Discord, and probably as soon as this is done, we'll jump over to the Discord, and we'll do a giveaway over there, Cash App giveaway. So $50 you can win. Let's see. You guys have questions? Go ahead and put it out there. It's $500 each for 100 senators. What are you guys talking about? Let's see. All right. Any questions, guys? Go ahead and put them out. I know this was a long live stream. We are going on almost 3 hours, 2 hours and 43 minutes. So yeah, we're looking at the numbers. What is that? Total 239, nays 147, and they're just doing the final stuff there. The time's already run out, and then they will gavel it in the session, and we'll see where this goes. Like I said, this is one of those things where we'll see what the Senate does. So what's the Discord room name? There's a link here. Let me put a link in the description or in the chat. But there's also a link that should be coming up. The Streamlabs name should show a link. But let's open up another one here while we're waiting for them to finalize this. In the description of this video, I should also have a link. That's another place you can check. Oh. Let's pull it up here. And the Discord it's about stimulus checks. So it's a stimulus check Discord. And we also have job assistance. We talk about that kind of stuff as well. So if you are looking for a job, we do have some people. I have some different people who hire people as well. So just something to think about. Some of them are jobs that you can do from home. So let me see here. Put this in the chat for you guys. All right, so that is the Discord. Give me $50. Yeah. You see Nancy Pelosi on the floor here. So she'll probably close it out at the very end here. Or she might not. We'll see. All right. 8015 is the bill. That's what that is. And King saying, where's the money for the people? Yeah. I hear you. I hear the frustration. I know it's very frustrating to watch other bills go through, and it's like, okay, well, what about the bill that we really want? The stimulus checks, the stimulus package. But you have to understand that's in another branch of the legislature. So you have the Senate, and the Senate is not doing anything. And so the House can pass everything they want, but if the Senate doesn't do anything, then nothing's going to get done. So that's where we are right now. I don't know, like, how should the House respond? Should they just not do anything because the Senate's not doing anything, or should they continue to pass bills and send them over to the Senate and see what they do? I mean, that's the big question, right? Was this a Maripino? Good job on the stream, David. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. This was a long one. I am tired. I will tell you. It's hard to do like 3 hours of I don't know. Just like, yeah. This is long. This is definitely long. I would ask you if you ate breakfast, but Miss Happy Apple got me scared. Miss Happy Apple does not play. She's a great moderator, so make sure you guys are on your on your P's and Q's. And thank you very much, Miss Happy Apple, again, for helping out. There's a lot of people there. There are a lot of people in here today, so I appreciate it. I know it was a long live stream. All right. Looks like they're standing around, so it's probably coming to an end now. Yeah. All right, they're getting ready to end it right here. So Sharon says, I hope I win $50. I hope you do too. Just go over to the Discord and you will have an opportunity.
As you can see by the tally, 26 Republicans so far voting in favor of the Postal Service bill.
That's not me.
Congressman Rooney, Francis Rooney of Florida, voting against the bill by proxy today, a proxy vote that was cast by Democrat Don Beyer of Virginia. Also today, the Congressman Dan Muser from Pennsylvania announced, tweeted to his constituents that, quote, as your member of Congress, I wanted to inform you that very unfortunately I tested positive for COVID-19. Republican Congressman Dan Muser of Pennsylvania. Final passage here on the Postal Service bill, $25 billion measure. That $25 billion originally approved in the HEROES Act, the $3.4 trillion pandemic relief bill passed by the House in May, but not yet taken up by the U.S. Senate.
Okay, so there it is. There is your final tally. And I found that interesting that one of the Congress people got COVID-19, I guess, when he was on recess. All right. So, and we'll just, we'll have to see where it goes with the Senate. And we can go ahead and if you guys have any other questions, we'll do about 2-3 more minutes. And then we will, then we'll call it here. They should be closing right now. I don't know what they're waiting on. Everybody's just kind of standing around. Yeah, it's crazy. Patricio, thank you very much. Ben is saying the house has really become worthless. Well, look, this bill right here is good for everyone. We all get mail. We all use the Postal Service. So should we help fund the Postal Service? Yes. I would agree with that. And the minute stuff stops coming on time, then people want to really get upset. But if we can avoid that, provide some funding for the Postal Service, I don't see a problem with that. And as I stated earlier, when it comes to the Postal Service, if there's too much money, let's say this $25 billion is it's too much money, I'd rather them err on the side of caution and provide more money than what's needed. And then you can always take that money and send it somewhere else in the government, if need be, later down the road. But you don't want to be in a situation where people are trying to vote and we start finding out that absentee ballots are not getting there on time because the Postal Service is short. So we want to have the money to keep our Postal Service running. And understand this too. I know people will talk, well, what about UPS? What about FedEx? They don't send first-class mail. So the letters and stuff that you receive, bills, all that stuff, they don't send that. That's only the Postal Service. So they'll send, UPS and FedEx, they'll send packages, but they're not sending that first-class mail. So Ben said junk mail. They do send a lot of junk mail too. But yeah, the Postal Service, and that's another way the Postal Service makes money through junk mail, through businesses paying to have these flyers, and politicians sending out flyers. This could be another thing that they're thinking about too, right? And this might be the reason why you're seeing some support from the other side voting for this $25 billion, because a lot of politicians use the mail to send out their mailers, right? I mean, now we're kind of in a different age where you can do a lot online. You can have a YouTube channel. You can get your voice out a lot different in different ways. But I still get a lot of mailers from politicians telling me to vote for them, and so that's another thing to think about, right? And we're looking at a time where absentee ballots are going to start coming into play, and people are going to start mailing their absentee ballots in. So it's better to get this done now than to wait until the last minute, because that might affect some mail-in ballots and some absentee ballots. All right. Okay. All right, let's see. All right, guys, any other questions? I was going to try to wait for them to gavel out, but it doesn't even look like they're going to do that right now. They're just all looking off to the side. Don't know what's going on. Iceberg saying we need the $1,200. We need the $1,200. I agree. I agree. Contact your senators because they are holding it up right now. And remember, we are going over to the Discord. Okay, so right after this, we'll be over there giving away $50. All right, guys. We're going to put some guys on timeout. No profanity. Miss Happy Apple is telling you guys this, and you guys continue. Even if it's not the full word. You know, we're all adults. We understand what those words mean, so that is not tolerated. We need $2,000. That would have been nice. I thought, at one point, I thought we were going that way. I'd say the beginning of June, I thought we were going that way. Actually, yeah, I don't know. No, I'll take that back. The beginning of May, I thought we were going that way. And then when the HEROES Act came out, it was $1,200, and I'm like, you know what? They kind of messed that up. Because you're asking for $1,200, yeah, they're not going to go any higher than that. All right. Yeah, they're I don't know what they're going to do, so we're not going to wait for this. Thank you guys all for stopping by. Miss Happy Apple, I owe you, I owe you, I owe you. And I will, I don't know how I'm going to pay you back, but thank you very much for being here and for helping out. And I know it was a long one today, but there it is, the Postal Service. Now they have funding. Well, I shouldn't say that. The House has passed this Postal Service bill, and now it will go over to the Senate, and we'll just have to watch. We'll have to watch and see what they do in the Senate. And yeah, this is one of those things you should be very, very upset with. The fact if it goes over to the Senate, it just sits there, just like the HEALS Act is sitting there right now. Then you'll really know, okay, this is where everything is being held up. And like I said, that's what we're faced with right now. So hopefully they can make some changes. We can make some changes in November and get people in there that really want to help out the people. And they're serious about actually getting things done. Because if you're going on recess every month, are you really serious about getting things done? And you're not even thinking about, okay, you know what, maybe we shouldn't go on recess, and maybe we should be here and help the people out. Yeah, I don't know. All right, guys, we're going over to Discord now. So go on over there to get your $50, well, take a chance at winning $50. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.